right, parts of California are under mandatory evacuation orders as an intense and powerful atmospheric river barrels through the state. A rare high-risk warning for life-threatening flash flooding has expanded now to include Los Angeles due to excessive rainfall. CNN's Camila Bernal is live near the Los Angeles River, and meteorologist Elisa Raffa is tracking this dangerous storm system from the CNN Weather Center. Good to see both of you ladies. Camila, you first. What are you seeing right now? How are people preparing?
Hey, Fred. So right now it's sort of the calm before the storm. We've seen a little bit of drizzle here and there, but really this is the time that authorities are saying is the crucial time if you are under an evacuation order. Because what they're saying is it may be too late later on when it really starts getting worse and you're starting to see the heavier rain possibly later on tonight and over the next couple of days. So there are already evacuation orders in place here in Los Angeles County. The concern is the canyon areas. Because of the debris flow, the landslides, those could be extremely dangerous for people who live in those areas. But there are evacuation orders in place in a number of counties across California. Further north in Santa Clara County, you're seeing evacuations in San Jose. You're also seeing evacuation orders in Ventura County and Santa Barbara County. In fact, Santa Barbara County, several school districts, they have already canceled classes for the children tomorrow. And so again, authorities are saying this is the time to evacuate if you're under those evacuation orders. Everyone across the state is being told to prepare for possible power outages because we could see widespread power outages throughout California. And already officials saying, look, if you can grab a sandbag and you need it, you should be doing that right now. I've been talking to residents across LA who are doing that and who've been doing it over the last couple of days. Here's what one resident told me.
We've done a lot of work around the house, and now we've got sandbags that are going to hit some of the places where we think there'll be an excessive amount of flooding. We've had a heavier storm a few weeks ago, and we had a little bit of flooding outside in the yard into the neighbor's yard. And we decided this time, since the storm's going to be a lot heavier, or expected to be a lot heavier, that we'd sandbag a lot more.
And state officials saying there's already about 8,500 personnel ready to go in case things get worse. We also know there are swift water rescue teams and helicopters team ready to go. And officials just telling people take this seriously because it could be dangerous. Right?
Oh, yeah, very, very seriously. Thank you so much, Camila. Elisa, so how long is this storm system expected to last?
Days. We have a flooding risk through at least Tuesday because this fire hose will really continue. You can see radar has already been busy for most of the state today. We've had some of the heaviest rain and the gustiest winds, some gusts even up to hurricane force in parts of the northern and central part of the coast. San Francisco has already had some problems with their airport there. We're already looking at 150,000 people in California without power. And again, we haven't seen the brunt of it get to the southern portions of California where there's pretty high population. Here's a look at some of the excessive rainfall risk that we've been talking about. That high risk that's in effect from Santa Barbara to LA and Long Beach is very rare, not just for California, but for the U.S. Fewer than 4% of the days that we get this excessive rain risk have that high risk in there, but it's responsible for 80% of the flood damage that we see and 40% of the flood-related deaths. That high risk has also been issued for tomorrow, too, for Southern California. So that threat continues as we go into tomorrow. So we're looking at dangerous and life-threatening flash floods, river and urban flooding, mud and debris flow, down trees and power lines, because this is not just a water threat, this is a wind threat as well. Look at the high wind warnings, all of that kind of dark red for gusts up to 80 miles per hour. And then that pink right off the central coast, that's where we're looking at some hurricane force winds that we've already seen. And it's the first time that that office has issued a hurricane force warning. So we can see that the rain just continues to pile on. You see the gust up to 35, 40 miles per hour. And then look at Southern California tonight and into tomorrow and even into Monday and Tuesday. The fire hose of moisture that just continues. So the rain totals, again, very hefty, widespread 3 to 6 inches with that chance of seeing up to 8-inch totals. Plus that snowpack, we're looking at it coming down in feet. Fred.
My goodness. And so, Elisa, you know, January, February, it's not rare that that big rain inundates the areas there, especially in Southern California. I remember being there one time and it was some kind of record, rainfall. But this is particularly unusual, right? Because you just mentioned hurricane force winds, alerts for that for the first time. So how rare is this kind of atmospheric weather, river threat?
Yeah, like you mentioned, we kind of expect these storms in California this time of year, especially it's an El Nino year, so we see more of those storms when we have that ocean circulation. But I was listening to an expert this morning, and he said this storm is unusually strong, unusually getting even stronger, or rapidly intensifying, and unusually close to the coast, which is where we're getting the wind impacts there. Also, this plume of moisture is stalling through the next couple of days. And on top of this, we have already gotten a month's worth of rain in parts of Southern California last week. So that adds insult to injury when you're talking about the flooding. And then something else I want to point out too is these ocean temperatures are fairly warm. That adds more moisture to the sponge. When you have warmer air and warmer oceans, we are looking at these intense events becoming 10% more intense in future decades because of climate change.
All right, Elisa Raffa, Camila Bernal, thank you so much.
But first, we are tracking severe weather on the West Coast. The Los Angeles Fire Department is warning people to evacuate in some parts of Southern California. You can see some of the regions there as the area braces for potentially life-threatening flooding conditions. So I want to get right now to the CNN Weather Center where meteorologist Elisa Raffa is tracking that intense storm system known as an atmospheric river. And Elisa, the LA National Weather Service says the area hasn't seen any kind of weather event like this in years. Break it down for us.
Yeah, they just kind of updated their forecast discussion, and it's got such intense, strong wording, using words like dangerous, life-threatening, dramatic, something we haven't seen in years. When it comes to the heavy snow, the landslides, and the urban flooding, this could really be a multi-threat and incredibly dangerous storm. This is what it looks like right now. It's been intensifying off the coast of California, where you see some of those lightning strikes popping. It tells us that the storm is intensifying. Now, the rain hasn't really shifted into Southern California yet, but again, the latest updates is telling us that we're just bracing now for the worst that's to come this evening and overnight, where rainfall rates could get to 1 to 1.5 inches per hour in LA, and that could be incredibly dangerous. That could cause some flash flooding concerns. Already 210,000 customers are without power in California. Most of those have been central and northern California, where they've had some hurricane force wind gusts all day. Again, we'll continue to find these impacts sliding southward. Here's that high risk. Again, an incredibly rare high risk that we only see less than 4% of our days, but it's responsible for 80% of our flood damage and nearly 40% of our flood-related deaths. And we've got that centered over Southern California from Santa Barbara to LA and Long Beach today. And another high risk is in place for tomorrow because this heavy rain will just continue for a couple of days going into tomorrow and into Tuesday. So dangerous and life-threatening flash floods. River and urban flooding. This could be a problem in the heart of the city, too. Mud and debris flow, landslides over the burn scars, down trees and power lines already causing power problems. Because like I said, it's not just about the water, it's also about the wind. Look at these wind warnings, gusts up to 80 miles per hour from Sacramento down to LA. Even the first ever hurricane force warning issued just off the coast for some of those gusts over 90 miles per hour as those winds continue to kick through the day. So you can see the fire hose of rain that just continues to pull into California, really setting up overnight tonight and into tomorrow from Southern California, from LA to San Diego, with that heavy rain going through Monday and even into Tuesday. That's why we call it an atmospheric river. It is a river of moisture in the air that just targets one spot. Now, when you look at the forecast rain and snow accumulation, first of all, you're looking at feet of snow up in the higher elevations. But when you look at the rain, we're looking at rain totals widespread 4 to 8 inches across Southern California. But we could see totals over 8 inches. And that is incredibly significant for this part of the country. And I wanted to put it into perspective for you. We're also coming off of a storm that happened last week, okay? So on February 1st, which was only, 2 or 3 days ago, LA got 2.5 inches of rain. This storm alone through today and tomorrow could give them another 6 inches of rain. So you're looking at totals just in 1 week approaching 9 inches in LA, and that's most of their annual yearly rain. They get 12 inches of rain in a year. So between the storm that we had earlier this week and the one unfolding now, we could be looking at 9-inch rain totals, and that's where you get the flash flooding to really unfold. Because with rainfall rates at 1 or 1.5 inches per hour on top of saturated grounds plus the wind, this really could be a recipe for something incredibly dangerous unfolding over the next couple of hours.
Yeah, and I think you put it into great perspective. I mean, just the amount of rain that we've seen in the past few days alone, getting close to what they see in a year, it's incredible for all the wrong reasons. Elisa Raffa in the CNN Weather Center, thank you so much.